My name is Abi Shorter. I'm 16 years old, and I really hope this is in focus. Mental health and mental illness is everywhere. We don't like to talk about it because we're almost afraid, but we can't keep sweeping it under the rug. It affects millions of people every day. It's something they have to shoulder every day of their lives. And artists, surprisingly, are almost the people who seem to feel the effects of this the most. They have such a powerful medium to be able to tell their stories, but they're afraid to because they're seen as the entertainers and the storytellers. And so when they do speak out, they're accused of idolizing the process. Well, these will be real artists, real people telling their stories. And they're not just any people, they are my peers, my teachers, some of my best friends. This isn't some tale that they're spinning. This is their life.
We're recording now.
Okay.
All right, super
I'm gonna start over.
What's your arts?
I'm in theater, orchestra, chorus, and dance.
And I am a theater teacher and the arts department chair at Enloe High School.
And my arts, I guess, are acting and cello.
And I'm a writer. I also do performing things on the side, so acting, singing, dancing, stuff like that.
Oh man, I have been obsessed with stories and creating stories ever since I was little. I was a huge reader, so ever since I learned that I could write and I could come up with my own stories, that's what I've been doing.
So at my school, you couldn't sign up for orchestra until first grade. So it was like sometime before then, and the orchestra teacher was like showing us all the different instruments, and she whipped out the cello. She's like, look at what you can do on the cello. And she played the Pink Panther theme song. And Pink Panther is one of my favorite movies, and I've watched it a million times. So even by then, I'd already seen it like maybe 5 times. So when she played the theme, I was like, I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And then like I got chucked into like a 6th grade acting elective. So then I show up for the class and we like do these season stuff, and by the end of the quarter I'm like, whoa, this is really fun. Throughout like most of freshman year, I've been like going to therapy more. Like I knew something wasn't right, and like I had been like having the feeling, you know, probably depression. I was like, Wesley, you just gotta be happy. Like, why you gotta be all sad all the time? Just like be happy like everyone else.
During one particular winter, after a series of rather stressful situations in my life, both personal and professional, I had a panic attack, which I had never had before, and learned months later that that was the trigger of severe depression.
When I was 14 years old, I was sexually assaulted, and I now have PTSD from that incident, so that's post-traumatic stress disorder. And I've also struggled with bulimia in the past.
So then I finally got like officially diagnosed or whatever. I was like, what? Like, this is real? And it's still taking me like a long time, like since then, to actually like fully accept the reality that like, you know, something in my brain working against me, and like that's real. It's like a real thing.
Summer after freshman year, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. So for most of my high school career, as well as probably a little bit of middle school, I have been struggling with those things.
I just remember before I experienced it myself, when the students were brave enough to come and tell me what they were experiencing, I would of course be sympathetic, but I think that there was a little part of me that wanted to be like, you know what, that's life, like just buck up. And once I experienced it myself, I understand how absolutely debilitating depression is. Depression is something that affects every single aspect of a person's life. And if a student particularly has it, the mere fact that they got out of bed and came to school that day is something to celebrate.
Some days when I'm having a really bad day. I just curl up in the corner and stare at the wall, and I can't do anything else. And one of the best ways to get me out of that mindset is to just take out a journal and free write, and it doesn't have to be good, it just has to be there. But that does take physical and intense emotional energy to get to the place where I can do that for myself. Other days, when I'm in pain, it's easier to connect to my characters that are in pain, and so the stories form themselves. So at some levels, it's hard to write the bad things when I'm not in a bad place, because then I can feel myself falling back there. So if I'm already there, then writing about it helps bring me back up.
So a lot of my art requires me to be vulnerable and kind of expose myself in ways that would have been scary to me in the past, because a lot of my trigger is linked to losing control. But when it's in that enclosed space and I am just there and I'm safe and I'm with my friends and I'm doing what I'm passionate about, I'm able to lose that control and know that it's all gonna be okay. And I think that that's such a, like, regardless of just doing what I'm passionate about and it making me happy, I think that that in terms of my mental illness is such a relief.
When I did Macbeth in 8th grade, that's really weird to say that you like relate to Macbeth, but like it's not that. It's just that frame of mind. Like flip that switch and turn on the depression and like let all the rest of me go. Like I want to do them right, but I can't put too much of myself in them.
I was in The Trojan Women in 9th grade, and I played a grieving mother who had lost all of her children to war and all of her daughters to slavery. And it's a beautiful show, but it was very emotionally draining, and already having that kind of mental illness was exhausting to kind of go to that place of emotional pain every night. And that set off kind of a series of just sleepless nights and not being able to eat and stuff like that. Not being able to eat actually is more problematic. You should eat. Everyone should eat food. But when I'm feeling particularly depressed, I can't get up to get food. And when I'm feeling particularly anxious, my stomach absolutely rejects food. And then also, you know, if I'm feeling very self-insecure, then I don't want to write because everything I write is bad and evil and I'm a disgusting, horrible human and no one wants to read what I write. But on those days, it's just really important to remember that I don't write for other people. I write for myself, and if it helps other people, then that's amazing and wonderful. But I write for me, and then it's hard to remember that sometimes.
There have been a couple times that I've been cast in roles that I've been nervous would bring me back to that place. My 9th grade year, I was given a monologue about a girl who was sexually assaulted and was bulimic. And I was like, really? Like, I had to go to my acting teacher and I was like, have we talked about this before? I didn't want to have to undergo a panic attack in front of everyone. If I was literally pretending to have experienced what I actually have experienced, I know that sounds weird, but it actually in the end helped me because it taught me how to really separate myself from a character. I've always kind of thought like, to be an actor, you need to become the character, but I don't think that's true. I think you need to look and see in a character what is similar to you and find yourself in that character, but then it's two separate entities, so you can step out and step back in anytime that you want.
Prior to leaving school, I was considering doing a musical called Addams Family, which is really funny, but I wasn't in the mood to do anything funny. I didn't find anything funny in life at the time. I didn't feel like laughing, pardon me. This is unexpected. I didn't feel like laughing. And so I needed something. I needed to do a show that would still serve my students and still challenge them and still challenge me and give me something to be excited to come to work to do, because I needed that. But I needed to do something truthfully. And I was in such a dark place. And this may sound funny, but I literally was like, what is the saddest musical ever? And Miss Saigon is pretty much up there with the saddest musical ever, but it is a stellar musical. It's challenging and meaty and relevant. It was a release, and most importantly, it gave me a purpose here at school. It brought me moments of joy, and I could hold on to those from the rehearsals and from the performances, and just give me that motivation to keep plugging away and doing the best I could until this time would pass and I would feel more like myself again.
I had a girl come up to me the other day and be like, Wesley, how do people like you? Just like straight up. I was like what? So I just told her, like, the first step, like, if your goal is to like get other people to like you, which I don't really think should be the goal. I think the end all goal is to be able to like be comfortable with yourself, and then other people is just like a secondary thing. Like, you might be in a place right now where you can't trust yourself, but like, not the end of the road, but like the light at the end of the tunnel is absolutely in sight.
The whole time I was depressed. I thought, can I even go to work? And I did, but it was all I could do. And when I was here, I was not much good. I mean, I did my job. I'm pretty positive no one knew what I was experiencing. But by the time it was time to go home, I just got in the car and cried all the way home every single day for about a whole entire year and a half. If you have a student who is experiencing depression, you just need to understand that it is taking every ounce of effort and energy that they have to even get out of bed and come to school. And so when they have things like they're not doing their homework, or they have yet another excuse for not being prepared for something, you have to understand it is absolutely legitimate.
You're gonna be okay. I know it sucks. Oh God, it sucks. But, you know, this too shall pass, and there will be a day when you will be all right. And it may not be perfect, and it may not necessarily be good, but there will be days that make it worth it. There are so many great things out there. There's so many beautiful things and beautiful moments in your future. This isn't all of you. Your mental illness isn't all of you. It's just part of you.
If this has like any connection with anyone, if anyone sees this and has any sort of connection and being like, whoa, I can connect to that guy's problems. Like, I didn't think a guy like him would have to deal with this kind of stuff. But maybe now I feel more comfortable like going up and talking to him. It's like stuff like that. It's just like, that's really awesome. Because then you get to know someone, you get to connect with them in a way you don't know how. So sharing it through this medium, I think, can really help people.
I hope that they understand that teachers are people too. You never know what trials people are going through. And so we all need to be just a little bit more patient with one another, and a little bit more understanding, and a little bit more loving, and a little bit more kind.
Mental illness sucks, and it can feel like it defines you some days, but it doesn't. It doesn't define you. What defines you is what kind of person you are, how you react when other people are down or experiencing something similarly to you, and how you act, and how you present yourself to other people, and that defines you. And your mental illness does not. It may be a big part of you, but that doesn't mean it has to define you. I just want everyone to know that I know it's cliche, but even if you feel like there's no one there in the world for you, and you feel like you're weak and you're just not strong enough to overcome anything, you can, and you will. It just takes a lot of heart and a lot of effort, but if you've already come this far, then you can make it the rest of the way. And I would just say, don't shut yourself off from the rest of the world, and don't close yourself off to support from your friends and your family and your passions. Like, immerse yourself in those things, and immerse yourself in things that make you happy and that you love. That just is the best thing for you to do for yourself, always. It's just like soul healing.
It's kind of huge for me to like be like, yeah, this is just part of me. It's fine. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. It just is what it is. So now I can move on. Instead of trying to destroy yourself, which is what depression makes you want to do, it's like, okay, depression is a thing that's working against me. how can I counteract that? And if you can't do that on your own, which I don't know anyone who can, you're gonna need support. So you have to reach out. So please do that.
My name is Abi Shorter. I'm 16 years old, and I could have died before I made this documentary. But I didn't, obviously. I'm not too sure how to say this. I'm writing this on October 4th, 2018. I left school early yesterday and spent the rest of the day at home under the watch of my family. I'll say it blatantly, despite how hard it is for me to even recognize what happened. I don't think I fully have. I hope in the future, whenever I'm reading this, I've gotten to the point where it's easier to say this, but I don't think it'll ever be easy. I left school on October 3rd, 2018, because I was planning to commit suicide. I've thought about doing it before. I'll admit it, and I know there's no going back now, so I may as well say it all. I've struggled with something since the 7th grade, and this something, which I can't name because we aren't even positive what it is at this point, has caused me to self-harm and attempt suicide twice. Everyone in this world is important to me now. I feel this passion, this gratitude for life I have never felt, and I think that's the feeling of finally wanting to live. I don't know what inside me has changed, but it has. Hearing the fear in your parents' voices, not being able to stop crying, the headache, the shaking, the sound of your mother trying to stifle tears as she lies on your bedroom floor, blocking the door, keeping you from death the only way she knows how. The conversation I had with my father this morning over coffee and cold oatmeal, where he spoke for an hour straight, then blamed himself for rambling, when in actuality I couldn't find the words to tell him how much I loved him. I wonder how the people at school will react. I wonder how much they know. I'll admit I'm afraid to go back tomorrow. I might not. I find my hands are shaking more and more now. They're shaking while I type this. I wasn't sure how to end Move With Me. I didn't want to speak on my personal experiences at all. I saw it as selfish, and it still might be. But I can't let personal fears get in the way of these experiences helping someone out. Future me, I need you to at very least read the next part of this to whoever may be watching. Hide the story if you want, I don't care. I just need people to hear this last bit. Tell your parents you love them. Tell your friends you love them. Tell everyone in your life that you love them before it's too late. Talking to people will save your life. You might be thinking you're okay. You might not be even wanting to live right now. But I promise if you don't live for yourself, at least live for the other people in your life. Live for your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your best friends and worst enemies. Live for them all. You can't give up on this world yet. It has so much to offer. Whether you choose to see that or not, it's still there. I know your mind is a scary place, and I know it makes you think and feel things that might scare you. I need you to see the signs. Yesterday, I felt killing myself was as reachable of a task as asking to go to the bathroom, and I recognized that wasn't good, and if I didn't, I wouldn't be alive. I'm sitting here in my room, typing a letter to my future self. I'm texting a friend and planning an outfit for tomorrow. I'm getting ready to do schoolwork. I'll probably have lunch first. I'm planning a future that had a chance to not exist. It's hitting me now. I feel it. I know I can no longer take these moments for granted. I think I want to live, or at least try to get better. That's all you can really do, you know? I have to try.